So, ladies and gentlemen, as all of you know, focus today is the most valuable and yet the easiest thing to lose. The distractions are everywhere. There's constant endless scroll on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube, and porn, and everyone is just basically fighting for your attention, including me. But this time at least, you're gonna be able to learn a lot and hopefully be able to escape this constant cycle of ADHD and not being able to focus on anything for a long period of time, and hopefully you'll be able to fix your fucking attention span. Because if you struggle with paying attention to things, you're not really going to be able to live a normal life. And the reason I'm talking about this is because when I was a child, I used to be a very hyperactive kid. It was even kind of hard for me to sleep enough hours every single night because I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I would run around the house and I just couldn't sleep because I was so energetic. And this ADHD couldn't really let me focus on things unless I really enjoyed them. Now, I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD or anything like that because I've never been to a doctor with this question. But in my teenage years, this ADHD thing literally just ruined my life. Not to say that it was just hard for me to read a paragraph of a book without being distracted like 5 times. I grinded video games 24/7 and watched the short form content, and honestly I even made money from video games, which is ridiculous. But that being said, the reason I'm telling you this is because I've been able to stop. Past 2 years I completely reconstructed my life. I haven't watched porn for like 2 years at this point, no social media for a year and a half, and many other things. And honestly, my life has changed so much that I wish for anyone who struggles with kind of the same problems as I did before to go through that transformation, because I've made a lot of mistakes and I literally just brute forced myself to being the way I am right now. And today I want to walk you through how I did it, and hopefully you're going to be able to do the same or at least avoid some of my mistakes. So let's divide this video on 3 parts. At first, we're going to talk about habits that used to keep me distracted. Then we'll talk about how I got rid of them so that you can too. And last but not least, I'm gonna go over some supplements, hacks, tools, and basically what helped me in the process of overcoming those bad habits and addiction. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So the process was gradual. It doesn't ever happen overnight, and everyone who says like, oh, I changed my life in 2 days, dopamine detox really works, guys, they're lying to you, because it doesn't, especially if you have this tendency to overindulge in stuff. And if you're going to go on dopamine detox for 2 days and then you're gonna go back to your bad habits, there's no point. And so here are 2 mindsets that I used. First one, you have to be ready to do that for life. And the second one, you have to be ruthless with everything when it comes to changing your behavior and literally just changing your life. So let's talk about some habits that used to keep me distracted. First one is social media. Now, I have quite a lot of videos on this channel about social media, and one of my, probably even the most popular video on this channel is me talking about how I quit social media for 1 year. And I'm not gonna get tired of talking about this, and I don't care what anyone says, but if you are not able to quit social media, at least take it under control, because the way you take it under control is you quit it for an extended period of time, let's say for 2 weeks, for a month, for half a year, for a year like I did, especially if you have a tendency to procrastinate and overindulge. Now, the way it fucks up your focus and makes you more like of an ADHD person is that your brain simply cannot handle this informational overload day after day after day. It just simply cannot work properly, because I'm not even talking about the softcore porn, which is probably one of the biggest problems when it comes to Instagram and social media overall. But what I'm talking about is the short form content. If you're scrolling on Reels, or however they called, or if you're just constantly scrolling and seeing people's posts and liking and writing comments and just seeing other people's opinions, and somebody's living this life and that life and this and this and this, everything is happening around you and your attention is constantly distracted from one thing to another, from that thing to that thing, and you can't focus on anything for long enough. It's like if you'd be reading like a very long post, something informative, very good by some scientist or whatever, that's great. But chances are you can't even really pay attention to a really long post when you have it in your feed. You can see and you just scroll through that thing. And the reason to that is because when brain is overloaded with all this video, with all this content, with all this softcore porn, it doesn't really care about information which is as boring as just simply reading text. And that's why social media is extremely dangerous. Now, as I said, I have quite a lot of videos of me talking about quitting social media and how I did it, and so that you can do the same thing. And again, I think that everyone should be able to take it under control by quitting it for at least some period of time. So if you're interested, you can go and watch it. Now, the second habit is porn, and I don't even have much to say about it because it's simply the worst thing that you can do for your brain, for your body, and for your life overall. If you do those dirty things, do you think you're going to be able to focus on something which really matters when your mind is constantly flooded with all those images and visualizations and maybe even sounds? I don't know. Like, imagine seeing a successful businessman, or a very successful student, or a very good worker. Like, do you think they're watching porn? Do you think they first spend time on it and second they allow it to distract them from what really matters? Probably not, and that's the reason why it is simply the worst thing that you can do for your health and for your attention. Now, this isn't a video about nofap, but trust me, porn combined with social media and some of the aspects that I'm going to talk about in a second are just simply the killers of your attention, in your focus, in your desire to do something. Now, the second habit that used to keep me distracted is my horrible diet. Now, I think that a lot of you have noticed that when you've ate quite a lot of food, especially a lot of carbs like pasta, pizza, or I don't know, rice or whatever, and especially sugar, you feel very, very full afterwards for maybe a short period of time, maybe not a short period of time, it doesn't matter. But you feel very full, and it's quite hard for you to focus on something. You feel quite heavy and lazy, and you don't really want to do the thing that you were doing before. It's like when I have a lunch at school and afterwards I come back to my classes, I can't focus as good as I did before. I usually don't ever have breakfast before school because I don't know, it's just simply about me, but I don't really think that people are supposed to have breakfast, especially early in the morning. I used to have a lot of bread for breakfast and sugary cereal with the milk and pizzas and whatever the fuck, which I feel very, very guilty talking about, but it's actually what's happening to me. And I think that it's important to talk it out there because some people don't even realize how bad it impacts their lives and simply ruining their attention span. Now, the way it ruins your attention span is that when you eat a lot of carbs, especially sugary carbs, your intestine starts to work more intense and it takes a lot of blood to it. Like literally, it takes away the blood from your brain so that you can function properly. It is that simple, but quite a lot of people simply have no idea about it. I'm just gonna say one thing in conclusion to this point, and that is that when I stopped having breakfasts with carbs and especially with sugar for like a week or so, it's been literally the biggest change in my entire life. Literally the biggest. Because so many people misunderstand it. By that time, I was still addicted to social media and to bad sleep and other bad habits. But I only stopped eating breakfast with carbs and sugar and it felt like my brain was as sharp as it has never been before. And I promise you, this is the truth. If you just go and you try out tomorrow, you don't have breakfast, and you do your hardest task first thing in the morning, you're gonna be shocked, I promise you. But that being said, another thing that used to keep me distracted and kept my ADHD at its fullest is bad sleep. Now, I have a great book around here by Matthew Walker, which is called Why We Sleep. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to read it till the end just yet because my attention didn't let me. But what I've been able to learn so far is that, like, if you don't sleep enough, you are more likely to develop cancers and other diseases. And it's basically one of the most important things that you can do for your health is sleep. But you don't even have to be an expert to understand how bad sleep fucks up your attention. Because if you want, you can do the experiment. Like you can just not sleep for like 2 days and then see what happens. You're not going to be able to focus on anything. At least it's just me. Like if I don't sleep enough for like 2 days, like if I sleep like 5 hours and then 6 hours, it has the chance to be alright. But if I sleep like another night for like 5 or 7 or anything below 8 or 9 hours, I'm totally done. I feel like a vegetable. My brain just simply doesn't work. Now, another bad habit, or it's probably not even a bad habit, but just the fact that I didn't really have any goals. I didn't have something that I wanted to specifically learn to focus on and work on for a long period of time. Like, I didn't really desire much of things. Like, I did want to do something. I knew that I was gonna be like starting something or whatever, like, but it was wishy washy, you know? And I didn't really have like specific thing that I would sit every single day and focus on. Because if you have nothing worthwhile to focus on in your life, you're probably not gonna end up very well, especially with your attention, because you're not gonna have the thing to pay attention to. I hope that makes sense. Now let's talk about how I've been able to remove those behaviors from my life and move on. Now, first and foremost, as I said many times in this video, I have quite a lot of content about quitting bad habits and quitting social media, and I have those two videos. You're gonna see them up here, and I'm gonna link them both down in the description so that you can go and watch them. So I'm not gonna pay much attention to social media and porn today, but the only advice that I would give on social media is that you have to delete all of the apps from your phone with no excuses. And the advice on porn that I could give is that you have to eliminate the triggers. And that's basically not the advice only on porn, but basically on all of the bad behaviors, especially the diet thing, because you have to eliminate the behaviors and subtract things that could possibly distract you from avoiding bad habits and from ability to focus and sit still for long. Now, the part of diet is very, very important. As I said, I used to eat a lot of sugar and a lot of carbs, especially early in the morning, which was a very, very big mistake. And I want everyone to avoid it as best as you can. Limit your carbs, especially now. If you don't want to go in depth with that, the only thing that you have to remember is that you need to limit your carbs and eliminate sugars. That's it. If you're going to be able to only stick with whole food like chicken, rice, potatoes, fish, meats, whatever you like, but not over processed foods, you're going to be very, very good off even if you're not gonna cut off all of the carbs as I did, because I've been talking about on this channel many times that I used to go carnivore in March this year or in April this year. I don't even really remember at this point, because it was probably the worst period of my life when I tried to go really healthy and eliminate ADHD, which I did. I was very successful at eliminating ADHD, and I've been able to increase my focus insanely. Like, I've been the sharpest version of myself through this 1 month. But what I figure out is that it's just simply not worth it, because I sacrificed my gains in the gym, my enjoyment of life, basically everything except from the focus. So if you want to improve your focus, it's very important to cut off all of the over processed food. But I don't really suggest going too crazy on that, because you're gonna lose the zest for life and you're just gonna hate yourself at some point. Especially if you're kind of extreme person just like me when it comes to doing something which is important for the goal that you're going after. Intermediate fasting is the thing that saved me my attention, my gains in the gym, and just everything. Because the only thing I do now, in order to not lose my gains, keep gaining muscle and enjoying life and eating sometimes like some fruits and honey and like maybe sometimes even some sugar. I'm not saying that you have to eliminate it forever. Is that I just simply do intermittent fasting until I'm done with all of the hardest things that I have in the day. If I have the ability to work in the morning, because if I have the school, then obviously I'm not going to be able to work in the morning. And if you're going to be able to do just that, you're going to see a lot of improvement in your attention span and focus. Now, the way I fixed my sleep is honestly very simple. Is that I just simply started to work like 10 times harder so that I'm very tired and I just fall asleep at like 9 or 10 p.m. Recently, I even bought this pair of blue blockers, which is a very good thing for your sleep, as other things are in supplements, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But if there is one thing that has fixed my sleep, it is actually going to bed on time. If you can have at least a rough sleep schedule, it's a life changer, it's a game changer, it's just the biggest improvement you can do. Now, what are some of the tools and hacks that you can use literally today in order to improve your focus and eliminate the ADHD thing? And first, and by far the most important thing, it's a life changer for me, it's cold exposure. Now, I've been doing cold exposure for 180 days at this point, which is crazy. I haven't skipped a single day. I'm pretty proud of myself when it comes to this. But it is literally the best thing to fix your attention. Literally the best. There is nothing even close. Now be careful with that. Don't go too crazy the first day. Consult with your doctor or whatever people say on the internet. But really make some research if that's safe for you. And if it is, then go and fucking do that as much as you can. Now it's not really good for hypertrophy if you're trying to build muscle, but if you're purely focusing on focus, which is fun, then you have to go and expose yourself to cold water. Now the second thing is meditation, and it's in the other category because cold exposure can improve your focus right now, today, for the next like few hours, because it's going to create this huge spike of dopamine so that you can enjoy your work for longer. But if you want to really improve your focus in a long run, like for life, then you really want to have the habit of meditation as fast as possible. Because I started meditating around like probably the same amount of time as I started going to cold showers, because all those things, like I took them on together, all together at the same time. And when I started meditating, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. I did see an improvement within like 3 days, but the big chunk of improvement and really the change in my focus, in my mind, and in my attention was by day like, I don't know, 40 or 50. So it's not really easy, but if you stick around, you're not gonna regret it in your life at all. It's a very amazing thing. Now, another thing that you can do before we move on to supplements that I used to take it, that I'm taking right now to increase my energy and focus, is that you can simply turn off all of the notifications on your phone, literally everything. Don't even try to make excuses about social media, especially. Don't even try to make excuses about somebody's texting you and you didn't see it and you don't want to be rude. Don't even try to make excuses about it. That is a BS. If somebody actually needs you, they can call you at any time. And most of the time, when you're going on your phone, you just see those bright red messages and intentionally clicking on the app and just wasting your time scrolling and distracting yourself again. Your notifications are the wildest things that you can have, especially if you have them with the sound. I have no respect for people who have their notification turned on with sound and vibration and this bright light up of the screen. It's just ridiculous. It's disgusting. Because quite literally everyone who I see with notifications turned on every app with the sound and with the lightning up are not really, let's just say, the most focused people I know. Now let's move on to supplements that I used to take and that I'm taking right now in order to improve my focus and even increase my energy. Now, I'm not telling you what you should take or shouldn't take. Go consult with people and watch Andrew Huberman podcast. But the thing that has helped me a lot, and it's just, honestly, I just took it recently, is omega 3. Because when I take like 2 to 4 capsules of omega 3 every day, I have like this kind of stress release for like 12 to 24 to 48 hours. I don't stress that much and it's easier for me to focus on. My mind doesn't really drift away. I don't know exactly why this works that way, but what I've learned from Andrew Huberman's podcast about ADHD specifically is that the omega 3 has this component called APA or APE. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And if you take like 1,000 milligrams, which is 1 gram or more every single day, you're going to be able to be less stressful, and it's going to basically like increase your focus because you're not going to overthink as much and visualize things. Now, another thing that I take is Tomcat It's basically a very good supplement for your health if you're a male. I don't really know how it works for women, so I'm not recommending that for women. But I've been taking Tomcat for the past like few weeks, and I've been seeing very good improvements in my sleep and my overall health and energy and focus levels. Another two supplements are creatine and vitamin D. Vitamin D is crucial. It's crucial for your testosterone. It's crucial for you as a human. It's like I believe everyone should take vitamin D at least some amount every single day because we are just sitting in our offices and working, not seeing the sun every day and not getting like enough of a sun exposure into our eyes. And it's very important to like try to compensate it with vitamin D. Now, interestingly, creatine is actually not only good for your muscles, but for your brain. And if you take it daily, you don't really need to cycle off of that. If you take it daily, you're going to see a lot of improvements as the time goes on. Yeah, quite a lot of supplements, but if I had to pick one off of those, I would pick omega 3 because it really stops you from overthinking and it really stops you from being so distracted inside of your own mind so that you can focus better in the physical world. I'm admitting that I'm an easily distracted person when I don't take anything of my supplements, when I don't really sleep well enough for like a large chunk of time, and especially when I'm eating a lot of sugar. I'm very distractible, I can't focus, my brain just simply doesn't work. But if I eliminate all those things and I take the cold shower and I meditate and I do all those habits that I've listed in this video, I feel amazing and my focus is just simply undistractable. I put on my headphones, and this is just a little hack for you. You can turn on like the white noise thing and just work with the white noise. It's amazing for your focus. It kind of blocks out the thoughts in your mind so that you can have this like tunnel vision focus on the thing that you're doing right now. Now, on that note, as a conclusion to this video, I'd like to say that this isn't something that will fix your attention and ADHD in a day, in 2 days, in 78 hours, whatever. It's something that I've been doing and implementing myself for many months, for like 2 years at this point, figuring things out on the way and implementing them in my life and basically seeing or not seeing the results and changing things up. But anyways, I hope this video has been helpful for you, and if so, then please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. You can also write something down in the comments if you have something to ask or to add to this video. I'm gonna be happy to read all of them and respond to you. And yeah, this is like my kind of like first video of going really in depth and talking about something very specific, such as like ADHD and fixing your focus, because I'm more of like used to recording vlogs and videos on the go. And if I'm recording like a talking head video, it's usually not that long and not that specific on something. I'm just like going the overall philosophy and just talking about things from above. But today I've been able to go specifically in depth on one topic, and let me know how I did. Take care.